Kia ora everybody, welcome to the online edition of Sunday's sermon. So this shortened message I've entitled Border Patrol. And I want to talk about the importance of guarding our hearts. As New Zealanders, we are used to fairly tight border control measures, being a fairly isolated nation. But more recently, our entry points into our nation have been tightened in order to try and keep COVID out. We now have, of course, these managed isolation facilities and COVID testing, because we do have to pay careful attention with our borders and gateways, what we're letting in and what we're trying to keep out. These entry points are so critical to be well guarded if we want as a nation to do well. Well, the Bible describes a different kind of place that also needs protecting, another type of gateway that we ought to be looking after. In Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, the NIV version says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." The New Living Translation says, "Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life." You see, while we, for good reason, focus on these external gates, these external borders, doing our very best to protect everything inside those boundaries, what attention are we giving the very thing that will determine the course of our life, our hearts? Above all else, it says, guard your heart, keep it with all diligence. Be vigilant with it, because everything you do flows from it. And an infected heart, a heart which has allowed things like fear and negativity, discouragement, maybe complacency, anxiety to come in, it will end up directing and shaping and influencing everything you do, and therefore how you live. And so we've got to guard these hearts of ours, perhaps like never before. If you page over in Proverbs 23, it says in verse 7, reading the Young's literal translation, it says, "As a man has thought in his heart," or in his soul, "so is he." In other words, what you dwell on, you will become. In the Hebrew, the original language of the Old Testament, those words in Proverbs 23, "has thought," is the Hebrew word shah. And shah means to split or to open. It refers to a place of access or entranceway, and it's actually translated elsewhere in the Bible as doorkeeper or gatekeeper. So you see, our hearts or our souls are gateways. What I give my soul access to, I become. In this climate today, we don't have to look very far to read about things that will cause division, anger, a lot of negativity. And if we're spending our time, hour after hour, reading articles, watching things, sifting through Facebook, looking at things that you may even agree with, but they carry this energy and tone of negativity, all that stuff you're letting into the soul gate, the heart door of our lives, and it will become you. Pretty soon, it will begin to drive your life and consume you. So how do we guard our hearts? Well, let's look again at Proverbs 4. It says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." And if we keep reading, the Bible gives us some clues. Verse 24, "Keep your mouth," it says, "free of perversity. Keep corrupt talk far from your lips." And so what words, what we say, are we listening to and then passing on and declaring? Because your words create your world. Psalm 141 verse 3 says, "Set a guard." There's that word again. Guard your mouths. "O Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. Let not my heart be drawn to what is evil." Let's be lifting people up with with their words, not pulling them down. If we keep reading, verse 25, let your eyes look straight ahead, fix your gaze directly before you. So it's about not just what we say, but what we see. What are we watching? What are we keeping our focus on? What are we spending our time looking at? If we keep reading, finally it says, give careful thought to the paths for your feet and be steadfast in all of your ways. Do not turn to the right or to the left. Keep your foot from evil. So we're to watch our words, what we say. We're to watch our eyes, what we see. And finally, our pathway, where we go. Give careful thought to the paths of our feet. Are we being led by Jesus? Are we walking in love? Are we keeping in step with the Spirit, being led by Him? Or are we being guided by fear, by frustration, by fantasy? Finally, because our hearts are a gate and they need guarding and protecting. I love this Psalm 24 verse 7. I'll finish with this. It says, lift up your heads, your gates. Be lifted up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Ultimately, in this time, we need heaven to come through the heart gate of our lives. We need His glory to fill our hearts, to have His perspective and allow that to become who we are. Have a great week.